Good morning, world, and welcome to the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Yes, and thank you all for tuning in with us this morning as we conversate about the latest sports topics that have taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this week. Welcome back to a fun-filled season with us here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast as we embark upon on what will be another fantastic episode this morning. And so, yes, well, we are back like a shark attack, back like we left some, back like we ain't got no clothes in our back. And for the world is a better place in the morning, in the moment when the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is taking place. As a reminder that every week we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast community page, on our other Facebook page known as just the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, on Instagram at the Early Morning Sports Talk POD. Again, on IG at the Early Morning Sports Talk POD, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Jamar, don't forget about podcast promotion if possible.
Okay.
All right, cool, my brother. Yes. And so, again, IG at the Early Morning Sports Talk Pod, our Early Morning Sports Talk Podcast community page, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk Podcast, as well as our own Facebook, pages via my name, Brandon Price, Jamar Goodman, my brother, Ian Jones, as well as our guest for this weekend. Today is December 9th of 2023. We have seen yet again another fascinating week in the sports world, where we saw the NBA in-season tournament take place, and the Indiana Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton knocked two Eastern Conference powerhouses down en route to the NBA in-season tournament final, which will take place tonight, fellas, in Las Vegas. And somehow, someway, our guest for this morning, Victor Young, firmly believes that this was not a fluke. And guess what? I actually somehow agree with him. Additionally, LeBron and the LA Lakers look motivated to cash in that $500,000 check, in which it would be for LeBron to give back and go feed Africa. Additionally, we saw the Pittsburgh Steelers look abysmal, with former Chicago Bears quarterback Mitchell Trubisky creating a lot of uncertainty in Pittsburgh after what looked like a good football team a few weeks ago, and now looks like a team that is trashed and in scrambles at the moment. With that being said, introducing our guest for this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, our brother, Mr. Victor Young. We thank you, my brother, for joining us for the second time and this is actually the first time, on the New Look Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Our guest for this morning is a veteran in a steel-making industry. He is a fitness fanatic now and has 3 kids. And good news, ladies, he is taken. He is taken. I actually thought he was single, but he got to me this morning and said, "No, brother, I am taking a soul." Good news, but in a way, not good news, ladies. And so, that being said, on the other hand, he is an Indianapolis Colts fan. He is a veteran. Yes, again, as I stated, within his industry. And he is also an Indiana Pacers and Chicago Cubs fan. And he has been a fan for the Cubs and Pacers and the Indianapolis Colts, looks like, for a lifetime if you add up the number of years. This brother is a general sports fan from college sports on the fantasy, football, NBA, etc., as well as local levels, even such as high school. And so we thank you for joining us this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast again, Mr. Victor Young. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys?
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good. Yes.
Glad to be here to share it and chop it up with you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro. Yes. Additionally, introducing my brother from another mother and one of my partners on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Brandon, you let the ops in today? Let the ops in?
Hey, brother, we got to get our guest on, man. And Vic is a big supporter. Victor is a big supporter of the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, and so we appreciate Victor in so many ways. And so, yes. And we will additionally, y'all, have our other partner on with us shortly, Mr. Ian Jones, our other brother from another mother, a.k.a. Rod Tidwell. So, Mr. Ian Jones, my bro, what it do? We'll chop it up with you shortly. And so, with that being said, let's get right into it, bro. Let's talk some Indiana sports. Let's talk some Indiana sports since we got our brother, Mr. Victor Young, with us this morning. And so, Victor Young, nobody expected the Pacers to be here. I know I didn't. Maybe our viewers, maybe you guys knew something that maybe me and Jamar, you know what I'm saying? But here we are, the Indiana Pacers, bro. For me, they look like the freaking real deal, like for real. And they are fun as hell to watch. They are up and down the court. They're young and they ain't afraid of nobody. Look like. I mean, look what they just did to these two Eastern Conference powerhouses. And so, just curious, bro, what are your thoughts as an Indiana Pacers fan to see all this hype right now surrounding your team?
I'm happy to see it. It's always good for basketball. Indiana is competing in the East. I mean, they have a history of competing, but never really getting there to finish it off. So glad to see that out of them. It makes me a little bit nervous though, because it's good for them to fly under the radar for a little bit. They're really young, and you don't really want pressure on you when you're young. They have really young. Miles Turner is like probably their oldest veteran on the team, and so if that says anything, I think he's in his 5th year. So it's just like you want to see them do well. They're actually playing really well offensively, and I credit a lot of that to Rick Carlisle. He's a veteran coach that's been around for a long time and knows what he's doing. Sometimes I don't always agree with some of the moves he makes, but hey, that's why he get paid the money to do it. But yeah, I'm glad to see them compete. Fun to watch, like you said, down the court. They can score with almost any team in the league, but I'm a bit worried and nervous about the defense because just as many points as they're scoring, they're giving them up. So, and that comes with time. They're a young team, more offensively minded. But when it's at the end of the season, you got to be able to play defense, and you're not going to win solely off of your offensive capability. And so that's what, hopefully, as the season passes, they are able to do. That way, they can come to a higher level.
Right, man. I know this might sound crazy, bro, but I know I'm hearing this thing about the Pacers defense. But Victor, the way they can score the ball, bro, I kind of think they can still be dangerous. But now imagine if they did play defense. Let's just imagine if the Pacers did play defense. If they did play defense, they'd be even much more lethal. They got guys in this team that we don't even know their name yet. But you know, like
enough for me, I do. But
that's okay for you.
Most people outside of Indiana probably wouldn't know them, and that's just the truth and reality of it. But that's what makes them special, because sometimes it's not all about having all the superstars, because sometimes having all the superstars doesn't allow you to win because it's only one basketball. And everyone can't score, everyone can't be the MVP on the team.
I hope the Clippers are hearing this right now.
So sometimes it's best that way. Look at Detroit Pistons and what they were able to do with no said superstar on the team. They were able to win, and that's because they played basketball. You know, so it all just depends. I'm happy to see it for them. I never want to see them do bad, but it's good for, like I said, Eastern Conference basketball for Indiana to be there, because Indiana is home, like, to basketball. Indiana's
it's the home to basketball. Yes, if people don't know, people always think it's New York. It's Indiana.
Yes, so it's good to see them play well and represent what this state is known for, and that's basketball. So, plus the All-Star game is this year, so I think Hallie trying to show out a little bit, make sure he get the nod, you know, in his hometown. Well, not his hometown, but his home city where he plays. So.
Yeah, man. I love me some little Indianapolis, man. A little small downtown with them little steakhouses on that one block. Then you go up the street and you got the circle.
Lord.
So yeah, I love me some Indianapolis, man. And so Jamar, man, what's up, bro? How you doing? Jamar's
Man,
a Bulls fan, world. But Jamar live in Indiana.
what's understood ain't got to be explained.
Yeah,
No,
Jamar, what's going on, bro? What's good? How you doing?
man. So, I mean, just a fun fact. I used to be a resident of Indianapolis for about 8 months in my life. So and it ain't my cup of tea, but I get it. I get it. I get it. Um, no, I mean the Pacers. I mean they're probably the funnest team to watch in the league. I mean, just from a general
I love
standpoint. I
watching,
mean,
man.
they play basketball the right way, and they play it at a fast pace. And I mean, the team leads the league in scoring. Team leads the league in field goal percentage. Team is top 4 in blocks. I mean, outside of that, they can't defend. They can't defend anything else. But I mean, nevertheless, they scoring in bunches. Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, he is definitely getting some real consideration for MVP. I mean, outside the Orlando Magic, I mean, the Pacers are probably just as big of a surprise to anybody in the league right now.
Yeah.
With their scoring ability, they can, like on any given night, can give anybody problems. And we kind of see it in this tournament if teams taking it seriously or not. Nevertheless, you beat Boston, you beat Milwaukee. I mean, two teams in the Eastern Conference that you probably got to go through when the real playoffs comes about in April and May. But I'm pretty sure those two teams do not want to see this Pacers team in a 7-game series right now.
I'd
Now,
be
granted,
scared if I'm playing the Pacers, I'd be a little afraid. That's facts, bro.
yeah. So, granted, I mean, maybe at the deadline or the buyout market, they can probably get a perimeter defensive stopper that can probably, maybe give them an extra 3 to 5 possessions a game. I mean, at that point, with the way they're scoring, that probably would, solidify them to really make a deep run in the Eastern Conference. But, but yeah, as long as Tyrese Halliburton is doing his thing and continue on the MVP path that he's on, I mean, this team is relevant. And like Victor said, you have, you know, a couple of people that's been there for a while. I think Miles Turner is the longing 10-year player there right now. But you also got Buddy Hield, who can definitely light it up. You also got a bunch of blue chip guys. A bunch of guys that just gonna do all the hard work, the dirty work, the things, and they buying in to what the coach is, selling. So therefore, yeah, as long as the team is like this and cohesion, yeah, they're dangerous. So
Yeah. Yep. And so, Ian, bro, my bro, good morning, bro. How you doing?
Good morning. How y'all feeling?
Good, bro. Fantastic, man. And so I saw your post the other day, man, and you made a post, and prior to that, Frank Noxies. Good morning, Frank. If you're anywhere around, Frank Noxies, went to Purdue with us. He made a post as well about Tyrese Halliburton after they beat Boston, and then Ian, you followed up after they beat Milwaukee, and you was just showing the stats. And it's noted that this guy Tyrese Halliburton have not had a turnover in 2 games. I don't think people realize how hard that is when you have the ball all game pretty much and controlling the offense for your team, and you have no turnovers. That's pretty good. And so, like, Ian, bro, why did you make that post? And just what are your thoughts on this team, and what are your thoughts on Tyrese Halliburton?
I mean, they're definitely a shocker in the NBA right now, but also Halliburton. I mean, he's taking this game to another level, and I think as of right now, I think he's probably the MVP front runner. I mean, um, having 15 assists in a game and no turnovers and being a point guard, that's very impressive. As of right now, he's my MVP front runner.
Mm, mm. Yeah. Yep. And so that breaks it down, man. And so the Indiana Pacers world tonight, NBA in-season tournament. And we'll talk a little bit about that right now. I mean, actually a little bit later. Okay, I don't think they can win a 7-game series not playing defense. I disagree. Who is the Facebook user?
that's Tiana.
Hey, Tiana. Hey, Tiana. And so Tiana, I disagree. I think it depends on who they play. And maybe you guys can see my point here. It depends. And so it might be some teams, yeah, they could lose to, but it would depend. I mean, the East is not super tough compared to the West. The West is a gauntlet. And so Indiana was to get a higher seed, and they would have played I don't know, New York. I think they could beat New York. Boston probably not in the series. Milwaukee suspect to me, y'all. I'm just, they are very suspect. They are just, maybe it's taking them time to gel, but I have not seen Milwaukee look all fantastic the way I was expecting them to. They lose to good teams. They don't play no defense, and they play a lot of one-on-one ball, reminding me of the Bulls almost, to where when the game get close, it's Dame time and Giannis, and that's it. Everybody move out the way. Even Chris Middleton, they tell him to move out the way now. And who else? I mean, maybe Miami. So outside of that, I mean, they done beat Philly. So I think Tiana, it would depend on who they play. Now, if it's maybe Boston and Milwaukee, but outside of that, I mean, Indiana look like they can beat some Western Conference teams. Actually, that's just me. What you guys think on that? What you guys think? You think Indiana, would it depend, or you guys think they just a first round exit waiting to happen?
I mean, I think they could make it past the first round, maybe. I mean, they still got a long way of the season to go. You know, if they improve on defense a little bit, they could surprise somebody, and you could probably see them in the Eastern Conference Final. I mean, we have that surprise team every year, and it might just be them this year.
Yeah, and Tiana stated, we know the Pacers are far from an end. Thanks, Jamar.
That's Frank.
Oh, okay. Good morning, Frank. We know the Pacers are far from an NBA title, so I pray they win the tournament. It will work well with the All-Stars coming to Indy. But I think them making it this far is great for Indianapolis. Indeed, it is. They put Indy on the map for sure. They are a great team, too. Yes. Yep. And so, appreciate. And Victor, you coming on, man. Like, you forced now to talk this Indiana, the Pacers. And so, it's a lot of love right now for the Pacers.
Yeah. Here's from Corey.
Right. Remember, Celtics beat them by 51 earlier with KP. Yeah, I remember that game, and I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. But I believe that game, Indiana didn't have their full team. There was somebody not playing for them, if I'm not recall, one of their key players. But, I mean, still, if you get stumped by 51, I see your point, Corey. I mean, I totally do. And so,
something too. You said they beat Philly, but they lost to Philly, and Maxey scored 50 the game they lost to, so.
Right. But that's the point. He had to score 50 to beat Indiana. He had to score 50.
Right.
And that was a close game. I remember that game. They were going back and forth. Haymakers. Like, it was a fun game to watch. And so, yeah, I see you guys' points, definitely. And so, the Indiana hype right now is live, but we're going to keep it going, Victor. We're going to talk about your Colts. So, the Indianapolis Colts, 7-5. Gardner Minshew out here looking like the second coming of Tom Brady. He out here clutch, man. They running the ball. They playing decent defense. And so, yeah. Victor, what are your comments? What are your thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts? When Frank was on here, we stated a while back that we thought that the Colts could actually be a team that could make a run for the wild card, and that could be somewhere around the wild card, around the end of the season. And so, what are your thoughts just on your Indianapolis Colts and the trajectory and where this team could be heading?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as to say, and as much as I hate Tom Brady, I wouldn't go as far as say Gardner Minshew looks anything like him. But
it was a joke, fellas. It was a joke.
No, I know. He stepped up to the challenge, though. they signed him, I was extremely nervous for him to be the backup. He's never been that guy. You know what I mean? It's the truth. And although he's on the Colts, I'm a Colts fan. I can speak the truth. He scared me every time he's every single game. He scares the living crap out. But hey, he's getting the job done. And it might not be pretty, be what everyone is used to seeing out of the Colts or whatever, the Colts of old, but he's getting the job done. We getting wins. That's realistically all that matters. It might be ugly. It might not be, explosive or whatever, but we're actually scoring points. Now, some games we have problems with keeping up with defense, but he's scoring points. He's getting the job done every now and then. He's doing his Minshew mania, dancing in the end zone. He's doing what he's got to do. And so for that, I'm happy. I can't complain. I do think they can be one of those teams that can get lucky and get a win in the playoffs because no one expects them to do anything. And sometimes flying under the radar is a good thing. You don't have that target on your back. You could actually, someone will come into the game and decide, oh, we got this. We're not worried about them. And then next thing you know, you upset and win the game. Now, do I think that they can compete on the highest level of maybe making it to the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. They got too many holes and certain problems and things that need to be addressed. But for me, they're a fun team to watch because nobody expected anything out of them, except for me. So I like Steichen. Sometimes I don't always agree with his play calling either. He gets the job. Those guys, they ready to play every week. They play hard for him, and that's what you can ask for out of a coach. So I think they are a wild card team, but I don't see them going too much further than that unless they address some of the issues they need to on defense. They can't cover anybody. The corners are horrific on third down. They give up third and long all game. Third and short, they're fine. Third and long, you can forget about it. They're going to give it up. So it's just you got to take the good with the bad and hope that they make just enough plays to win the game.
Right. Jamar, any thoughts on the Colts, man? Any thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts? Are you excited to see the Colts be where they are? Did you expect them to be where they are?
No, he's not. Excited to see him.
I let my spokesperson talk for me. He knows how I feel. But I definitely didn't expect this. Before the season started, I'm pretty sure the vast majority of us thought it was a Jacksonville Jaguars division to lose, and everybody else was, going to be a year or two away.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case. So, last time, like you mentioned when we had Frank on, we were saying that I was making an argument that, based on the Colts' schedule, they have as good a chance of any of making the playoffs. But one thing that I probably didn't see coming is more so the outside help that's getting them to that point as well, i.e. the Pittsburgh Steelers out here losing 2 games they had no business losing to.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that happening. You got the Cincinnati Bengals with no Joe Burrow. You got the Cleveland Browns with Joe Flacco out here. They are a game behind Jacksonville in the division.
That's a tight division right now.
There's multiple paths.
They lost to Jacksonville twice. It doesn't help.
So technically 2 games behind.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, there's multiple paths for them to get a playoff spot based on their plan and how everybody else's situation is shaping up and the result of that. So, yeah, maybe we might see Minshew Mania in January here with maybe at that point a healthy Jonathan Taylor too. So let's see what happens.
Wideouts. Pearson, the other kid, huge wideouts. Uh, Indianapolis coach picked them to be there.
No, I mean I don't think nobody expected them to be here, but shout out to Minshew Mania. He's been holding it down on my fantasy team as one of my quarterbacks right now, so I enjoy seeing them touchdowns every week. No, but seriously though, I don't think like you guys said, I don't think nobody thought that they would be here, coming in with Anthony Richardson starting as a rookie, but then he ended up getting hurt. But Minshew, he's been holding it down. You still got Jonathan Taylor. He gonna talk the rock. So I think they're in good shape. You know, in the upcoming years, we'll see how they fare out with Anthony Richardson. See if he's the real deal, or see if they're going to start over in quarterback.
Right. And thus far, just looking at Anthony Richardson, he looked pretty good. Those games, and so it kind of makes me excited for this division going forward. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and Trevor Lawrence going forward. It's not bad.
No love for Will Levis.
I mean, it's an interesting point because he playing decent down in Tennessee. He playing decent. He playing decent down in Tennessee, and he young too.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone at the beginning of the season gave the Jags the division, and I knew, I always say the Jags is going to be the Jags. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I just didn't feel like they were as good as everyone said. The Colts, they had some games where they could have won. The Cleveland game, the LA game against the Rams, they actually could position and they are right now. Now they have some games they could have lost too. So it's just the guys, like I said, we got to clear some things, and who knows where or what we could. Honestly, I felt like they had a chance at the beginning of the season, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna shut my mouth and wait and let things play out. I was a little bit worried about Anthony Richardson, though. My honest opinion, I did feel like they should have started Minshew ahead of him, give him some time to kind of learn the system, learn what Steichen wanted him to do, and kind of get a feel for the NFL versus college, because he really didn't play much in college either. So, okay, what do you do? So, but now he's hurt, so hopefully he's able to recover well. That's not an easy injury to recover from, so hopefully they didn't get him hurt in a sense to where he won't be the same.
Right.
And next year, when he comes back, and see if he's able to play at a high level, but who knows?
Right. Really good point. Yep. And so, fellas, any other thoughts, fellas, so we progress to our next topic?
No, I'm sick of talking about these Indiana teams, man.
Well, the good news is at this point, Jamar, we are done with the Indiana teams, and if you guys find we don't have to shout out to the Chicago. Wait, say it again, Victor.
We'll talk about IU basketball if you want.
Basketball, man, they up and coming, and so and so in this case, we gonna progress though, fellas, and talk. We gonna talk college, but now we got to talk this topic. There was a lot of debate happening this past weekend, and throughout this week with this current topic. And so, as a result, we got a Florida State undefeated team that was left out of the college football playoff. And so I want to start with you, Jamar, you, Ann, and then you, Victor. With the 4 teams in the college football playoff, did the committee get it right, in your opinion?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. So I understood the morning of, based on what I was hearing, it was either, you gonna let Florida State in, or Texas and Alabama come in as a package deal, and so they went with the package deal. to try to justify the why, the reason for getting Alabama in there, because you couldn't get Alabama in there without Texas. But my thing is, and I know that probably has happened a few times, and probably in the last 20, 25 years, blah blah blah. But I don't understand how you basically punish a team for winning. you punish a team for winning all their games just because the quarterback gets hurt. What it's like for me is like, what happened to the next man up mentality? Ain't that what sports all about? Somebody gets down, you gotta like have that competitive nature. So you find a way to win with the third string, who would just happen to probably just gonna play that one game, because had the next game happened, the second string would have probably been at that point. But like, if I'm Florida State, I'm sick. I am sick to my stomach. It's not like they end up, losing the ACC championship game. Right. It ain't like they lost, and then at that point, it's been real easy. Like, we don't even have a conversation, right? You just go ahead, just slide them Texas, Alabama all in, and that'll be it. But look, I get it for the Roll Tide people. You know who you are. I'm looking at one right now.
It's been a good week. It's been a good week for Victor. Good week.
Apparently. No, I get it. Like, their only loss came to Texas. What was that, the second week of the year for them? But and they progressively gotten better, and they beat Georgia, who hasn't lost in like 30 some games. That's what it feels like in over 2 years. Blah blah blah. But I mean, I feel like definitely should have been Michigan, should have been Washington, should have been Florida State, and then at that point you either putting Texas in, you either putting Texas or Georgia in my opinion.
Texas or Georgia, so you feel Alabama should have been left out completely?
I feel like you cannot put Alabama ahead of Texas. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
Because Texas went in week 2, beat them in Tuscaloosa by double digits.
They did, yes. Yes, they did.
But but it definitely, you just cannot leave Florida State out. And if you want to go based like other stuff like strength of schedule and all this stuff, like Florida State, they was up there. They beat quite a few in the top 25, blah blah blah. And if you really want to go deep into it, we talking about strength of schedule, then you have to make an argument that Michigan shouldn't even have been in there, right?
Well, so the strength of schedule,
you know what I'm saying? But Michigan was a lot lower than that, a lot lower than everybody. So if you wanted to go that route.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I mean, look, I'm pretty sure it's a money thing. I'm pretty sure it's the adage you can't leave an SEC team out of it, blah blah blah. But with it being the last year of this format, I feel like they definitely want to go out with a bang here. That's what it is to me. But go ahead, Mr. Roll Tide. I want to hear this BS. Go ahead.
I'm not there.
Ian, bro, go ahead, and yes, we're gonna get to Mr. Roll Tide next.
Man, I first of all, I just really can't believe that they really left them kids out the top 4. Like I said on Facebook, or Twitter, one of them, I was like, well, first of all, I thought they would leave Texas out, and so, like you say, you can't leave Texas out because they beat Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia. So, in my opinion, should have been Michigan number 1, Washington 2, 3 or 4, however you, probably 3 would have been Florida State, and 4 should have been Texas. To leave an undefeated team out in the Power 5 conference, ACC conference champion that is absurd. To come out and say, and basically left them out for one player. That's insane. I don't, like Richard Sherman said, what's the point of playing games for if we gonna win all our games? we still don't get a shot at the title. Um, you know, you have a team jump from 8 all the way to 4 because they beat Georgia, which was a great win. I'm not taking none away from Alabama, but in this playoff, it shouldn't have been no SEC team in it. Period. Um, I mean, Georgia lost to an eighth seed, so they shouldn't even have a shot. Granted that it's Alabama, they shouldn't even have a shot at the title. Texas went on the road early in the year, beat Alabama by double digits. Yeah, they lost a close game in a rivalry game to Oklahoma. Oklahoma was a top 25 team, but I mean, in my opinion, it shouldn't have been. I mean, well, Texas would be in the SEC next year, I believe. But
Mhm.
I mean, in my opinion, it should have been an ACC team in it to leave out a and to to do that to them kids, man. They still kids, man. That's just they don't give them no hope. So now what half of their seniors or whoever's projected to go first round or to be top picks in the NFL draft, they're not even gonna play in the bowl game because it's like this is not what we signed up for. We went undefeated, won our conference. Our biggest player get hurt, and that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. We can't. Nobody can control that. That's unfortunate, but at least give them a shot. And everybody want to, bring up the TCU game, how they got blew out in the national championship last year to Georgia. Yeah, but TCU won their first game. They beat Michigan. They won their first game. So you're just not gonna give these kids no shot. You're not gonna give them no shot just based upon one player. I thought this was a team sport. This was an individual sport. And I don't recall this being boxing or golf or anything of that nature. You got to give those kids a shot to play. I don't care if they get blew out by 80. They were undefeated. They earned their shot. It's a Power Five conference because it's other. I think it's another team undefeated like Liberty or something. So
Yeah.
you can't say they're not a Power Five conference. They're a Power Five conference. They won the conference championship. If this was Clemson or this was somebody else, they would have been in the top four, man. I just really feel bad for them kids, man. That's tough to deal with. I get, it's
Right.
Alabama and that's what people want to see. So what if Alabama go get their ass whooped and go get blew out? Then it's gonna be, oh, we should have put Florida State in there. No, that's bullshit. You should let them kids play, man. They undefeated, man. So now I'm not even the biggest Michigan fan, but I hope they whoop Alabama ass to prove a point. Y'all should have let Florida State play. I love college football, but that last week that was unacceptable. That was unacceptable.
Mhm.
That was very
Right.
unacceptable.
I got you. Yes, and yeah, we'll see, man. I'm very interested. You bring up a point. I'm very interested in seeing these bowl games. And I'm very interested in seeing Florida State versus Georgia. But now it's kind of watered down in because you mentioned a point that some of the star players don't want to play. And so the star receiver for Florida State guys, he opted to not play in the bowl game in the Orange Bowl because so he's not motivated. But I wouldn't want to play with that damn third string quarterback anyway, Victor. I'd be like, you know what?
He might not be playing. It might be the backup though.
I'd be like, you know what? Based on how two quarterbacks look, I don't know if I want to play either. And so, yeah, bro, Victor, go ahead, make your point for the tie.
Uh, well, Florida State is exactly where they're supposed to be. What is it, the Orange Bowl or whatever? Whatever it is that they playing in, they playing in that bowl. They're not where they're supposed to be in. I feel like at the end of the day, here's the thing. I feel bad for the kids. I mean, everybody deserves a shot if you go undefeated or whatever, which in a Power 5, blah, blah, blah. But to be truthful, the ACC is down. I mean, really, who did Florida State beat? That's an opponent that anybody could say, oh, besides LSU, SEC.
Hey, bro, they beat Duke. Stop it. They beat Duke. They beat Duke.
I get
Do you know Duke got one of the top quarterbacks in the country, Duke? This ain't just a basketball school. This is a football school, Duke.
I get it, but it's Duke, man. And we all know how that goes. It's Duke. Just like North Carolina every now and then is ranked 2, and they're not good. So we gotta be for real. So at the end of the day, there's teams that went undefeated. BYU, I don't know. I mean, not BYU. I'm sorry, Boise State a few times, undefeated. Right. They didn't go. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Just because you go undefeated don't mean technically necessarily that you're one of the top teams in the country. You just won the games that you played. That doesn't mean, okay, that's like saying, okay, Alabama, who has to play Mississippi State, who's usually ranked every year. They got to play Tennessee, who's usually ranked. They got to play Georgia.
LSU,
they got to play Arkansas. They got to play Auburn. They got to play all of these teams. Whereas, say, for instance, Florida State, in college football, who do they play in their conference? Now, here's the problem that I have with some of the teams. They don't play a tough non-conference schedule. If you want a chance to win or be in the national championship, when it comes to non-conference, play somebody. Don't play Kansas City School of the Blind and then expect to be in a national championship.
That's who Alabama play, though. That's who Alabama play, though.
because and they know what they plan for the rest of the season. That's why.
I can honestly say that. Sometimes their non-conference schedule ain't really that tough.
They play Chattanooga every year, but they play Chattanooga because of what they're playing for the rest of the season. It makes total sense for me.
Man, if we're gonna be
because
totally
of
honest,
what they're playing in the SEC, they play Chattanooga.
To be honest, if we're gonna be totally honest, there's only two teams that's good in the SEC. That's Georgia and that's Alabama. They never play each other. They never play each other in the season. Florida's not good. Florida ain't been good since Tim Tebow left. Tennessee ain't good. None of them teams are good. Just like the Big Ten is not good. The Big Ten is not good. It's only Ohio State and Michigan. That was basically the Big Ten championship 2 weeks ago. So
let me ask you this, bro. If LSU played Duke, who do you think will win? If LSU played Clemson, who do you think will win? If LSU played Louisville, who do you think will win?
But who does those other teams play? Who else is good in the SEC besides Alabama and Georgia? Be realistic. Auburn was
Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss. Have y'all forget about Ole Miss, who ranked in the top 10? Ole Miss is ranked in the top 10,
Ole Miss never get it done, bro. Well, keep going.
I mean, they're a lot better than Duke. They're a lot better than North Carolina. They're not better than Louisville. They're better than them. Period.
But North Carolina been ranked in the top 10 before too. A lot of them teams been ranked too. Clemson just fell off.
And they should have been ranked though. That's the issue. They should not have been ranked. The only reason why they get ranked is because they're undefeated. Just because you're undefeated does not mean that you're one of the top 25 teams in the league. I mean, in college football.
Bruh.
It does not mean that.
I agree with that.
And the strength of schedules. I mean, and I'm going to let you go, Jamar, but fifth, this is an excellent point, Victor, because you need to map out who you plan for that season, at least at this moment. And it might be that way too next year. We're going to have the same problem next year when the format extends, because there's going to be some people, Victor, that's going to be, oh, we undefeated or we this and that. And so at the end of the day, fifth ranked strength of schedule compared to 55th, that was huge for me. That really let me know the power of the teams that they played and the level of competition and levels it is to the SEC compared to other leagues. Go ahead, Jamal.
All right. Whoever mentioned Ole Miss, they nothing but the Penn State of the SEC. I ain't trying to hear that.
That's true, though.
I mentioned Ole Miss, but they win. I mean, they're a lot better than the other teams. That's my whole point, Jamar. I'm not saying that they're not a national championship ranked team, but they are better than most teams in the SEC. Come on, fellas. You can agree.
Penn State. Once again, Penn State of the SEC.
Most of the
teams can agree on that. You don't have to agree because you don't want to, Jamar, but you know it's the truth. You know it's the truth. You know damn well Ole Miss is better than most teams in the ACC.
If Ole Miss stack against the Big Ten and play, 1 through whatever, 12, I guarantee the SEC would win more games than the Big Ten. Guaranteed.
Look, I'm not disputing that. Look, Florida State plays in the Power 5 conference. If we're being realistic, there's a lot. I mean, a lot of the conferences have been down overall this year as opposed to last year. That's just what it is.
The Pac-12,
a lot of them.
Whatever you want to call it, Pac-12.
Pac-12 probably been one of the best conferences this year. Pac-12 and SEC.
I mean, they had a lot of teams ranked, but ultimately that conference isn't that great either. They had a lot of teams ranked, but those teams wasn't like sustainable. It wasn't. Big 12, ACC, Big 10, even parts of the SEC. I mean, they all been down this year. But the fact that a couple of weeks ago that you needed a 4th and goal from the 50-yard line on a miracle play to beat Auburn, who has no business to be in that game whatsoever.
It's a conference rivalry. It's always a close game. Always.
Do you know how many conference rivalries out there that are completely one-sided? Because y'all have some kind of
not a real rivalry that somebody cares about.
I understand.
Look, my sister live in Alabama, Jamar. All right, they are literally an hour and a half away. Auburn and University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa. That is one of the realest rivalries in college football.
I'm not disputing the rivalry. I'm just saying that the teams is just like Alabama should have blown them the bleep out. That's all I'm saying. 4th and goal at the 50-yard line.
That's true. But as we all know in sports, every team has a team. No matter what they should be, they struggle with that team. It's always like that.
Okay, so all right, so that's the case. Well, I mean, Florida State struggled with a team last week with a 3rd-string quarterback and found a way to win, and they're undefeated, and they're not in the playoffs. On a Power 5 conference, we ain't talking about TCU. We ain't talking about Boise State. We ain't talking about no mid-majors here. We talking about a Power 5 team, a Florida State team that has tradition, a Florida State team that has a huge fan base, a Florida State team that has a lot of accolades.
But Jamar, I don't care about that. I care about the quarterback. I care about the strength of schedule. That quarterback was 3rd string, and the way they looked, oh my God, they look like they could barely even make a field goal.
Why does it matter?
And I'm just saying, Jamar, if I'm looking at them play and I watch them and they go into the playoff and they embarrass, like I would just be like,
so, and
they were going to get blew out, Jamar. You know it.
But how do we know that? But how do we know that though?
Exactly.
We do know that. You just know. You know it.
No.
You just know it. Like,
You're making assumptions based on what happened to TCU last year in the national.
And they won. And they won the game. They won a game.
They beat Michigan.
They were healthy, fellas. They were healthy. I hate and Jordan Travis. I pray for you, brother, because yes, you're gonna be the brother that's 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Everybody gonna look at him and be like, "Man, brother, if you was healthy, we would have went to the college football." Man. I mean, that's a sad situation. But let's be realistic. He was not healthy, and the committee, technically, they have a rule book that states just because you undefeated don't mean that you can't, like, you just a lock. And we look at players. And so Jordan Travis was truly the biggest reason why Florida State didn't make it. If Jordan Travis was healthy, Alabama, I think, do not make the playoff. I think it would have been a lot of pissed off people.
Terrible.
But they would not have made it. But Jordan Travis being injured, unfortunately, was likely the biggest reason. So as well as that strength of schedule too.
That's Richard Sherman's point. So what's the purpose of playing games then?
Yeah, exactly.
If we win all our games in the Power 5 conference, win the conference championship, what's the point of us playing? We might as well just say,
you can be ACC champions.
No.
Yeah.
Turn the subject off. Roll credits. I'm done.
That's insane. That's insane because if we
champions, baby, be happy, be grateful.
That goes back to my first point.
I guarantee, if any one of us had a son on that team, we would feel away.
Absolutely, but hey, we don't.
That's right.
That goes back to my first point.
That's wild.
Like, so forget the next man up mentality, right? They found a way to win. Like,
hey, but no, like for real, this is my take on that though as well. Back to it. That's like saying, okay, the Lakers make the playoffs. They're the number 1 seed. LeBron get hurt. What's their chances of winning? Let's be real.
That's different.
But they still gonna play. They still gonna play,
but they're gonna lose.
completely different.
And the
That's
committee
a theory.
can
this is
consider
the any
that,
given
guys.
Sunday.
They have rights to consider that. You got to go by the rules of the committee.
What the same NCAA that's been crooked as long as I've been living?
Crooked just because Alabama been in, man.
No.
You need
to post this, y'all. Jamar, crooked NCAA.
It's not even about Bama. It's not even about Bama to me. It's about the SEC. It's about the SEC. It's about the SEC, how they treat the SEC. And quite frankly, in these last couple of years, and with the transfer portal, just how we just stated, all these conferences and how they got 2 or 3 teams that's good, it's spread it out because of the transfer portal. Yep. So no conference is really dominant. The SEC is not dominant. Big Ten not dominant. Hell, all the great quarterbacks in college football this year, the Pac-12, they come out the SEC, they come out the Big Ten. Hell, all of them still in the transfer portal. So it's spread it out. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
and no, I disagree with you, bro. And I love you, but it's still a SEC. It's still the SEC. It's
the SEC, not what
the SEC. It still levels to this. I don't know what it is about them boys in the South, Mississippi, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, but Georgia, 29-game win streak, fellas. Come on, y'all. Until they lost to a fellow SEC team, their rival Alabama.
If you saying
let
that,
just sink in, Victor. How can we not say it's levels when they
literally
29-game win streak and lost to a fellow SEC team in the SEC championship?
Louisville has never been good in the history of the program besides Lamar Jackson. They made
the college football playoff, Victor, and they played the SEC team with Lamar Jackson. They would have got smashed.
I mean, but Louisville also beat a top 10 Notre Dame team early in the year. So I mean,
that's Notre Dame. Anybody can beat Notre Dame. Oh, Notre Dame, Jamar. Notre Dame, really Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Boy, you know what?
Notre Dame dropped the ball every year. They always break high. They suck.
I'm just saying. But no, there was a hype train for Notre Dame entering this year, though, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
don't downplay on that when there was a hype train at the beginning of the year.
But
we all Notre Dame under the bag, man. They do it every year.
So hypothetically speaking, if Alabama get blew out, if Michigan blow out Alabama, then what? Then it's gonna be maybe Florida State should have.
If Michigan blow out Alabama, we gonna say, damn, Michigan deserve to be where they are. Because we're gonna be like, they done proved themselves.
Florida State is where they're supposed to be. The Orange Bowl. Is it the Orange Bowl? I believe
yes, the Orange Bowl against
Georgia. It don't even matter.
And which Georgia's gonna romp them. Georgia's gonna romp Florida State.
Hell, Georgia, they
play
might not even
play. I don't care.
They gonna romp them.
The great value blow.
And that's the thing about it too. See, them players, they're not gonna be. That game probably not even gonna be. It might be good. It might not though, because they're not even gonna play. All the youngest gonna play.
They like, oh, we don't want to play. They scared of Georgia. That's all it is. They scared of them.
Nobody watching that game.
They got to play a real team, not Louisville or Duke.
Right. I was sitting there watching that game with Alabama and Georgia. We're gonna move on, fellas, because this was a great debate. And you know, hey, me and Victor agreed. Jamar and you guys agreed. It was fun, man. We both think we right too, and that's the good thing about it. I swear I think I'm right, and I'm not back from my stance. And so, like, it is what it is. We agree to disagree. I love it. It's all good, man. But I'm looking forward to these bowl games, and I just want to see the results like Penn State. It's going to tell us a lot too. Alabama versus Michigan is going to tell us a lot. If Alabama beats Michigan, it's solidified. But, you know, if Michigan go and they rump Alabama, it's going to be more questions. And Georgia, FSU, I think we can agree it'll be a miracle for FSU to beat Georgia, unless Georgia's just not motivated. And so it's going to tell us a story. But sorry for those kids at FSU. You guys, I totally see your point. Me and Victor see y'all point. We do. It makes sense. But, you know, you just got to, you know, it is what it is, man. And so, all right. And so, fellas, let's make our picks tonight for the NBA in-season tournament final. Just quickly, and then we're going to progress with NFL reactions. And so, Jamar, Lakers, Pacers, who you got, bro?
Don't tell
You got him
Victor I
why?
said this, but I'm taking the Pacers.
All right. Okay. And who you got, bro?
Oh man, it's tough. Uh, I think the Lakers gonna win, but I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if Halliburton he go crazy and knock the Lakers off. I won't be surprised.
He do that, he gonna really be on the map for real.
He gonna be
For
the
real.
MVP gonna be his to lose. Damn.
Right. He gonna be on the map for real because LeBron get different when motivations come around. That man play different.
He really. I know he really want to win this in season tournament.
Yeah,
I guess just so he can say he the first one to win.
Right.
I can tell how you been playing lately.
Right. And man, shout out to the Pelicans, man. I thought they was gonna put up a damn fight. Lakers romped them.
Yeah.
Real bad. Show you how good the Lakers could be too, though. They sound a little crazy, but they pretty good team. Victor, who you got, bro?
Well, we talked about conspiracies on the last segment, and I know well that this might be LeBron James' last dance series. So, and just like somebody just said in the he gonna win, man. They're not gonna allow him not to win this very first one, especially
The
if
refs gonna help him.
he gonna do whatever he gotta do, and they gonna allow him to do whatever he got to do to win this game. So I would like to see them win it. I don't think they have a chance in hell. Just like what we talked about with conspiracies or whatever, and being fraud or the league or whatever, cheating for a team. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen today, and it's going to be the Lakers.
Yeah, interesting. So I'm not going to make a pick. I'm just looking forward to watching the game. I'm really stuck. I'm not going to make a pick because, all right, I'm going to make a pick because of Jamar's eyes. I'm going to pick the Lakers. But I got to bring up the Pacers. The Pacers is a very dangerous team. And could I see them beating them? Hell yeah, I can. Because of how they play the game. They might mess around and rump the Lakers. And so I think it's going to be a really good game, though. I can see that game going down to the fourth quarter as it always do with the Lakers. And it would depend if they could stop Halliburton. But if Halliburton get hot, he's going to torture him. That's what he's been doing. So, yeah, look forward to that one tonight in Vegas. That's going to be it's kind of good to see the NBA in-season tournament being a success look like thus far. People are really into it. All right. Fellas, any other comments when we move on to our NFL reactions and overreactions?
I got nothing.
Nope.
All right, fellas, let's progress. And so, Jamar and Victor, is it an overreaction, fellas, to think that after San Francisco's dominant win over the Philadelphia Eagles, that 22 Mr. Irrelevant quarterback draft pick Brock Purdy is the current front runner for MVP? Is this an overreaction?
I think it's a slight overreaction because, like, I get it. They beat them. They beat them down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm still consistent because last week we were talking about between Hurts and McCaffrey.
Right.
And I think maybe more so the MVP race is probably more wide open per se, as opposed to it being favored Brock Purdy.
Okay. Yeah. And
I don't think it's overreaction. I think Brock Purdy's kind of finally winning me over, man. I mean, every time I think he's, kind of subpar, just okay. He show up and show out. And I know he has a great supporting cast, and I know that has a lot to do with it. But man, he been balling, man. I mean, still, like I was talking with somebody recently, you still gotta make the throws, and he been doing it. So can't argue with that.
Right. Yeah, Victor, is it an overreaction to think that after the dominant win versus Philadelphia, that Mr. Relevant quarterback Brock Purdy is the current front runner for NFL MVP?
Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. Now, my thing is, he like he just said, Ian, you gotta make the throws. Absolutely. But he's Chad Pennington at best. And that's my overall
Jared Pennington.
he's a game manager. He's in a system where he cannot fail. I mean, look at it. Look at the yards after catch. Look at the yards after catch. He throw the ball 10 yards and they get 80-yard play. After that, McCaffrey, he's running all over teams. He's in a system where he cannot fail. All he has to do is make the correct throw every now and then, and he's right there. You don't have to do anything. He don't got it hard. I mean, the defense gonna put them on the field over and over and over again. McCaffrey gonna run over everybody. He got to make a quick throw to Debo or Ayuk. They gonna take it to the house. Like
He's gonna go run over everybody.
So here's the chance. And you're not even a player on your team on the offense. How? And so it's a complete reaction by far.
Wow, that's a strong stance, man. I like it. Wow. And it's interesting because, like Ian stated, Brock is finally winning me over. But, like, for me, I sit there and think about your point, Victor. He does have it pretty easy being in that system. And with him being in that system, is that really like, is he really the most valuable player on that team? And so, is he even the best player on that team? Now, is he the best player? No. Could he be the most valuable player? Yes, just simply because he's throwing the ball. But could that being the most valuable player on that team, viewed as the best team in football, result in an MVP? And I hate to say it, but it probably could. Jamar, were you going to say something? Probably could result in MVP.
So, all right. So just my quick rebuttal to this, not saying that he's MVP, but my quick rebuttal to is there's been plenty of quarterbacks specifically in the past that has been surrounded with plenty of weapons and can't get the job done. I.e.,
we did the same thing there, though. Jimmy G, he's terrible in those.
Yeah,
he did the same.
Yeah. Jimmy G ain't into it. I agree.
But I mean, let's just say, like for instance,
they did go
around the league. Let's just look at Justin Herbert, right? Let's look at Justin Herbert, surrounded with a great cast. You can't say that cast ain't great, but yet they can't get it done at all.
But they're scoring points. I think they scored the most points since he's been in the league. The most points. They're scoring. Their defense can't stop nobody. But Brock Purdy got the best defense, or at least one of them in the league. So it's just like, what else? You know what I mean?
I mean, okay, that's the case. I mean, Trey Lance would have been their quarterback, right? But he couldn't do it.
Trey Lance sucked, though.
but that's my point, though. Like,
I mean,
it's a sense of the place, but
they got rid of him. They didn't even care.
But that's the point, though. Like, Trey Lance had the same system as Purdy. Yeah, Purdy, he's doing what he's supposed to do. It's just basically the system is in place, but you still gotta, do your part to make it work with what you got around you. Like, everybody can't do that.
Right. I felt like with Trey Lance, though, he was trying to do too much and trying to be Mr. Athletic at the same time, balance the system. And with Brock, he's not doing that. He's just a system quarterback. And it's going to be crazy to think that could actually result in an MVP, just simply being a system quarterback. That's it. I know it sounds very plain, but that's all he's doing, being a system quarterback.
I'm almost willing to bet, though, that San Francisco has the most yak yards in the league.
I agree. Yeah. They got definitely the most yak.
If it's not them,
they got Debo.
If it's not them, it's probably Miami.
Yeah, with Tyreek too. Yeah, and
they got to be top 5 at least.
Yeah, both of them I agree on top 5 for sure, man. Them both, both explosive teams. And so, yes, fellas, we're gonna talk a little bit more MVP. Is it an overreaction, Jamar, and you mentioned open field, to think that if Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys have a great game with a great outing by Dak Prescott that he will overtake Jalen Hurts as a front runner for NFL MVP?
Sure, why not? Not an overreaction. You know why? Because for somehow, some way, Dak Prescott has been playing out of his mind. The Cowboys are whiffing a game of the Eagles, and Vic, I was telling Deshaun earlier this week. Matter of fact, I think Ian in the same chat. I said, if the Cowboys beat the Eagles, I said the Niners are basically going to the Super Bowl, because that basically just opens up the playing field and opens up the Niners to get the number 1 seed, and it's going to be all she wrote. And I feel like the Cowboys have a pretty good chance. Therefore, I feel like if Dak Prescott go out there and do his thing, and he was doing his thing against the Eagles when they played the first time around, they just didn't get it done.
Really good game.
I think, the Cowboys go out there and expose that secondary like the Niners just did, and Dak has a great performance. They win. Yeah, why not at this point? Why not?
Yeah.
So, not overreaction.
All right. Yes. Ian, I'll repeat for you, brother. Is it an overreaction to think that if Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys have a great game with a great outing by Mr. Prescott, that he will overtake Jalen Hurts as a front runner for NFL MVP?
No, it's not an overreaction. I mean, to be honest, after seeing him play last week and the last few weeks, he's been balling out, to be honest. Like, kind of quietly, but he's been kind of balling out. I think he has, if I'm not mistaken, I think in the last couple of games, I think he has like 5 or 6 games, like 20 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, something like that. So he's been balling. So no, it's not an overreaction.
Yeah. Victor, your thoughts?
I don't think it's an overreaction, but
You don't think
my honest opinion, neither one of them should be in the MVP talk anyway. It's just clear cut Christian McCaffrey. I mean, I don't know why it's even a discussion, to be honest. I mean, yeah, they own winning teams and they the QB of teams that's winning, but I mean, look at Dallas. I mean, they got 1 win against a team with a winning record, I believe. So it's just like, who are you actually beating? Okay, you threw 5 touchdowns, 2 games in a row, or whatever it is, against nobody. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's still a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to downplay what he's done or nothing like that. But it's like, okay, how I view it. So it's like, whatever. You know what I mean? So is it an overreaction to think that he could jump Jalen Hurts? No, not really. I mean, they both kind of played the same this year. They getting the job done. And they have a good game here and there or whatever, where they look like God, or whatever. But then they have a game where, you're like, so what? Like, I don't know. As far how I see it. So, I mean,
right. But keep in mind that this is a regular season award, Victor. And if you beat up some tomato cans, that's just who you beat up on your schedule, because it's a regular season award. And so, fellas, let's now progress. And so, Jamar, is it an overreaction to think that if the Pittsburgh Steelers do not make the playoffs this season, regardless of their awful quarterback issues, that this could be the last season for Mike Tomlin as this team's head coach?
That is a super overreaction for a couple reasons. One, the Steelers, like, they probably is the biggest job security for a head coach as there is in the NFL. That's first and foremost. In my lifetime, they only had 2 head coaches that I can remember, and he's one of them. So, right. Second, I mean, it is completely the quarterback situation. He didn't draft Kenny Pickett. He didn't sign Mitchell Trubisky. He's not the GM. I mean, yeah, that's what you got to work with. And yeah, somehow, some way, they have 7 wins. Like, could you, like, at the beginning of the year, if we looked at their schedule and we sat here and said the Pittsburgh Steelers have 7 wins right now? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Heck, we got a better quarterback than them. But everything else, we'll talk about that later. But nevertheless, yeah, that's definitely an overreaction.
Okay. Yes, and so is it an overreaction to think that if the Pittsburgh Steelers do not make the playoffs this season, regardless of their awful quarterback issues, that this could be the last season for Mike Tomlin as this team's head coach, as we've been hearing rumors about this for quite some time?
No, it's overreaction. Kenny Pickett is not the answer. Of course, Mitchell Trubisky isn't either. Um, Offensive coordinator, put them in a bad hole. And I think they need to move on from Najee Harris. I think they need to kind of revamp that offense. I just think it's just time to break it up and do something different. I think the receivers are okay, but I think they need to those quarterbacks and running backs. I think they need to redo. But no,
Mm,
I mean, and still like you guys said, still in all, he has 7 wins. So I mean, that just probably comes just from coaching. So no,
right.
that's an overreaction. They would be stupid to let go Mike Tomlin. They let go Mike Tomlin, then they ain't gonna be good for the next 15 years.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. They let go of Mike because he's doing what I feel and I think what you guys are seeing as an amazing job with not much. So you tend to always do seem like. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Scott Diesel. Yes, he stated now the Steelers see how we felt when we had that ass quarterback of Mitchell Trubisky. so
Ooh-wee.
and so yes, Victor. On the other hand, is there no reaction to think that if the Pittsburgh Steelers do not make the playoffs this season, regardless of their awful quarterback issues, that this could be the last season for Mike Tomlin as this team's head coach?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they would be crazy as previously stated. Give them up, man. Like you said, man. Over the last 50 years, they had 3 coaches. Like
Pittsburgh seemed to hang on
you
to
know,
their coaches for sure.
yeah, you have a bad season, and all of a sudden, oh, it's the coach's fault. No, I mean, he's been coaching well for years. So you can't, oh, you got one bad season. Well, we got to get rid of the coach. No, it's the players. Like, they're not producing on the level that which he needs them to produce on. And he has a record of being a good coach. Like, he's a Super Bowl winning coach.
Right.
Like what, what more than one on his resume as far as what he can do. Now, does that mean that he would be a great coach forever? No, but also too, it's not like he did it. He won with, hate to say it, Tom Brady or somebody. Yeah, Brent Roethlisberger, who wasn't a bad QB. He was great, a Hall of Famer by all means, but at the same time, it wasn't like he had something like that. He still won, but they won on defense, and they were very strong at that.
Yep.
And within that, they're not the same Steeler team as far as defense.
Well, I might can argue with you on that, Victor. The defense is still tough. They've been holding them down. Really, it's been the defense.
Oh yeah, they still play.
It's been.
It's not the same.
Okay.
They're still playing well though. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the same.
Well. That defense been holding them down, man, for real. Because the offense ain't been doing much. They barely putting up 10 points. The Steelers, and they 7-6. Jamar, how like crazy, but.
That's what I'm saying.
That shows that Mike Tomlin's doing a hell of a job with that defense and that team, with what he got. And so, yes, is it additionally, fellas, an overreaction to think this past Thursday night that we could have actually witnessed the last football game between Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick as head coaches of these respective franchises? And that likely at least one of these coaches will not be with their respective franchises next season.
I'm gonna let Ian go first on this one.
I think Bill needs to go. I think it's time, man. It's just been abysmal since Tom Brady left, man. I mean, Mister can't get right. Just time to move on. Robert Kraft, I know that's your buddy, but it's just time to move on.
Yeah. Victor, your thoughts?
No, I don't think it's an overreaction. I can't wait to see the day that Bill Belichick give him the book after, all the cheating ways and all of that is caught up to him, and now they can't no more. There's no more Spygate and Lighthouse and taping and doing all of that. They're not the same no more. No Tom Brady. Oh, Belichick, he's the greatest coach ever. He should be able to coach these same people, right? He should be able to be, they should be winning games still. Shouldn't be able to, there shouldn't be that much of a drop off. If he's the great coach that everyone says that he is, you can't have that much of a drop off. It just can't be. I get you have arguably, you had arguably the best football player ever, in Tom Brady or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, great coaches make great play calls and make good players into great players. And he's not doing that. You got these guys over there, and they're not producing.
Right. And so, Vic, I'm about to mess you up with this one. Scott as well. Are we in a way actually saying that Mike Tomlin is a better overall head coach than Bill Belichick? Because, look at what Mike Tomlin's doing with that crappy quarterback situation, holding that franchise up, and he do it consistently. And Scott, you just stated that Tom has been his crutch in New England and that he's covered a lot of his woes of Bill Belichick. And so could we actually be saying that in a way that Mike Tomlin is actually a better head coach than Bill Belichick? Or are we going too far?
I wouldn't say it's far off to say something of that matter if you go with what you've been shown. You have to go with what you've been shown. Oh, I get all the accolades. Oh, you've got all these wins and Super Bowl wins but at the end of the day, football is a team sport. Those players are out there on the field. He's there to coach them. But at the end of the day, they're the ones who are out there playing. So at the end of the day, to say the greatest coach ever, I don't know that to be true. You can't win when you don't got Tom Brady. So
wow. Yeah, we gotta put this out here, bro.
You may look at it because I
know it'd be a lot of debate behind this one. A lot. People hear this, they go crazy. Like, what? What did they just say? What? Bill Belichick? Like, what?
I kind of agree with him.
You're a Hall of Famer. Get a pass.
Ian, what was you gonna say, bro?
No, I was saying I agree. I agree.
Wow. Yeah.
You don't get a pass.
Wow. But when you do look at the sample size and look at what a person's been given, you can make this argument. Now, it's an argument that people might not want to hear, or it might be an argument, right, fellas, that people ain't ready for. And if it hits them immediately in the moment, they'll be like, what the hell he just say? What?
People will say you crazy. Oh, he's a 6-time Super Bowl winner. He's a great coach. Yeah.
Right. Wow. And so, yes. And so look at the wins when he had Tom and look at the wins without Tom. Speaks for itself. Yeah. And Scott, we all sports fans here in Tiana, etc. But we can even remember he was terrible with Cleveland. Remember, terrible with Cleveland. Terrible. Like, he wasn't like the best head coach prior to Tom Brady, to say the least, guys. And so, it brings up a really good point here. And it's an interesting point. It might be a point that people ain't ready for. It might be a point that people ain't ready to hear. But it's a very good point. And so it's very interesting. And so, fellas, lastly, with our NFL reactions and overreactions, we want to progress with some that hopefully make you guys giggle a little bit. But lastly, and we'll start with you, Ian, and then you, Victor. Is it an overreaction, fellas, to think that after this past Thursday night football game against the New England Patriots, that the Chicago Bears ownership is reconsidering bringing back Mitchell Trubisky for one more season to rejuvenate this franchise. And so, Ian, what is your thoughts on this? Is this an overreaction?
Hey, Brandon, go to hell, man. I'm not even answering that, man.
We asked because based off of the Chicago Bears history. So, Victor Young, what are your thoughts, bro?
Man, no, absolutely. And I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong. I want them to do it, but is it the right call? Absolutely not. They would be insane.
Scott Diesel stated, "Man, they bring him back. I'm turning in my season tickets as soon as possible." And so with the Bears, I mean, the point here, guys, as you look through the humor, is that with yes, Tiana, what? And so the point is that with the Bears, you never know. And so, we always say that Jim Irsay be doing some crazy stuff in Indianapolis. The Bears just be doing some stuff too low key, bro. And so giving players that don't deserve the money, they be giving them billions and all type of big contracts. And so, it's just a point. It's just a point. It's just a point. And so, Jamar, the last NFL, we had a good conversation, by the way. Jamar, you missed it. We talked about the fourth overreaction was it an overreaction to think this past Thursday night we could have actually witnessed the last football game between Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick as head coaches of both of these respective franchises, and that likely at least one of these coaches will not be with their respective franchises next season. And so Victor stated, he's ready to actually see Bill Belichick go. Ian stated, his point. And it came to the point to where without actually Tom Brady, that Bill Belichick has not been great at all. And so the question became, is Mike Tomlin actually a better head coach overall than Bill Belichick? And people stated that, it might not be a conversation that people are ready to hear. And people be like, oh, he's a 6-time Super Bowl champion, etc. But Victor, Tiana, our viewers, they all actually agreed that Mike Tomlin might actually be a better head coach than Bill Belichick.
Woo.
I know. Woo. And that's where we was going. We've been debating all morning, y'all. We had a strong debate with this college football playoff a few minutes ago. But this is another one. This is another one where he's going to get people crazy. They're going to be like, what you just say? What?
Bro, why is it always some drama when Victor's around? My gosh.
Hey, man, I just got to speak it how I see it. That's all. I've been watching this game for a very long time, my entire life for the most part. And that's what I see, man.
Yeah. It's an interesting point. As I state, Jamar, people might not be ready to hear it. And it's going to make people go, whoo. But if you look at the sample size without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick has been below average.
Now, my only question is, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, but my only question is it because he has Mac Jones? Or is it because of everything else?
And my argument is because of Mac Jones. I think everything else for the Patriots is actually solid.
That's who he wanted.
But
that's who he wanted.
So
yeah, that's who he wanted.
So
if you were the coach and that's who you wanted, you should be able to coach them. You're a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. I agree.
I don't disagree with you there, but we also got to remember that Bill is the GM and the head coach. So I think GM Bill is trash. GM Bill is just complete trash because he can't get anything right with that. But all I want to know is if he actually had a more competent...
Sort of like how Phil Jackson was?
You can say that too. Yeah. But
because it's not like he got planted with Mac Jones. He wanted Mac Jones.
Now, The only thing is, I just want to see what he would look like with another quarterback that's more competent. Yeah, he wanted Mac Jones, but maybe his expectations of Mac Jones versus the actual production is basically two different things that he thought would happen instead of what actually is happening.
But as a coach, you should know what you're getting. You should have some type of idea.
Right. And
So
so,
what if
Hall
he's
of
putting
Fame coach.
him?
A Hall
I'm
of
just
Fame
saying,
coach.
what if he's putting him in positions that should make him succeed, and Mac just not making the right reads? Maybe it's more. I'm just playing devil advocate. I'm not saying you're wrong by any means. I'm just saying, like, what if Mac just can't make the reads, can't make the throws? That's the only thing. I just want to see if he had another quarterback that's more confident. Let's just say if Jimmy G went back to New England, which I know is a more competent quarterback than Mac Jones, would it look different? That's my only question. Other than that, I like everything you all are saying. I don't disagree with.
Only thing I would say, because I love to rag every chance I get on the Patriots. At the end of the day, they were great, but they played in a weak division. That they beat up on those teams. I mean, look at the numbers they got against the Jets, the Bills in Miami in the time when they were great. They would beat them silly every chance they got. So those 6 easy wins right off the bat. Then they win maybe 12 games. They beat some of the other teams in the league. Okay, whatever. Okay, then you get a first round bye. So then you got 2 games to get to the Super Bowl. You win those, granted. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, they had the easiest route over that time frame or period of anybody.
right. Then you got home field too.
So he was winning.
Right.
Be a great coach though.
Right, I see your point. And so, yes, fellas, man, this is real. And so, but for time and purposes, fellas, let's progress. But hey, Jamar, for the last NFL overreaction, it might just make you go crazy because it made had a reaction. But the last overreaction, it's to laugh. It was an overreaction to think that after this past Thursday night's football game against the New England Patriots, that the Chicago Bears ownership is reconsidering bringing back Mitchell Trubisky for one more season to rejuvenate this franchise.
Well, what Ian stated.
Exactly.
And so, yeah,
we're not doing that here.
This was the last NFL reaction and overreaction. And so, fellas, let's progress now to Scott's question. And so he stated, do y'all think that NIL deals are going to throw off draft picks because of the fact that they are getting paid millions and are really not pressed to make it to the NFL to get paid? It's a good point. I mean, look at Marvin Harrison Jr. I've been reading about him getting an NIL deal that could be worth 20 to 25 million. This kid's still on the college campus. It's crazy, and so, fellas, you guys got anything to say about this? Because, in regards to draft picks, it's a good question with the draft picks. I don't know if it necessarily throw off the draft picks, because we talking 2 different subjects here. Motivation and a draft pick are 2 different things.
I'm thinking it's more so like guys, wanting to stay in college for the NIL instead opposed to going to the draft and causing the big board to be an issue. But look, like these NIL deals, like I get it, they getting these guys paid while they're in school, but no, I read that report. I'm debunking all that. I don't. It'd be ludicrous for somebody of his caliber to stay. Like, for one, like, you're gonna get top 5 money on the rookie scale. That's more guaranteed when you play in this sport as opposed to getting an NIL deal for 1 more year. You blow out your knee and that's it. That's all she wrote. That don't even make any sense. It don't. And I think with NIL deals, like 20, 25 mil, that's even unheard of. Like the top tier guys are getting a couple of mil. It ain't like it's like sustainable, like NFL contract like type money or just sponsorship endorsement type money, like all the way around with the NFL contract. Like, why would you just do the NIL deal when you get the actual contract plus the actual real sponsorships on the back end? Like, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah. So, fellas, your thoughts? Because I think in a way, In regards to draft picks, if I'm in college and I'm getting 20 to 25 mil, I have to really sit down at first with somebody. And I'm trying to think if I'm 2021. If I'm 2021, fellas, and I'm in that seat, I hit it. I'm super excited, right? Woo, 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 woo. You know, but I guess maybe it'll take somebody wise to sit me down and talk to me about the NFL. And it just makes me question, fellas, is the NFL now gonna have to start coming more out their pockets in the future in order to rival these NIL deals? Because these NIL deals, you know, maybe they know what they're doing by keeping him at Ohio State for another year. Maybe there's some business and some money that's given for them as well in this. Just a thought, you know, it's just a thought, you know. You keep him at Ohio State, big program, the Ohio State University ends love of this school. Like, you keep him there for another year, you know, and he already stated he want to be Michigan, you know. So you know, you throw him that money, you know, and so do I think it'll throw off draft picks? Yes, Scott, because of them getting paid and because of their age, etc. And it could be also motivations that they have as well to beat other schools or win this national championship, get over the hump. So in a way, I think it does. And Victor, you guys got any thoughts on this before we get to our picks?
Uh, I think it will change a little bit, but I mean, if you're a top 5 pick, I just think just just leave. I mean, there's no purpose of staying in school.
Vic,
I think a lot of it will. It all come down to whether the player wants to go to wherever the place is that holds that draft pick, and they'll decide that based off of whatever it is. Hey, if I'm getting 25 mil, think about it as a young college student. I'm getting 25 million to play college football,
right?
and most of them, their mindset is different. I got 25 million and can still hang out on campus with all the campus kids and be, you know, a god on the campus. And we all know what that brings. So within that, a lot of them probably be like, why go? I'm going to get the same thing if I just stay here, or actually more. And I got time. I'll go next year if I don't like the situation, to whereas I might end up going.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I think it will mess with the NFL eventually at some point if they're getting paid that kind of money. And it's unfortunate for some teams because it's just like, what do I do now? You know what I mean? What do I do?
Yep. It's going to force the NFL to start making some business decisions too. They're going to have to start coming out their pocket too now because it's a rival on the block now. Simple as that. And so, yeah. Scott Diesel, yep, exactly. Yep, he agreed. And so, yeah, on that note, yes, that is a very good question, bro. And we're going to see more of this coming in the future with these superstar NCAA talents, basketball talents. And so, fellas, let's progress to our NFL Week 14 picks. We got a number of interesting games this week. And so let me know if you guys can see my screen when it comes up. And so give it a second. All right. Can you guys see it?
Not yet.
Okay. Let me reshare again. All right. And so while I work on sharing this screen, regardless of the fact, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, and who you got, bro, and why?
Tampa Bay and Atlanta. I got Atlanta. I
Okay.
think Bijan Robinson and those guys have a good day on offense.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yes. And Victor, who you got?
Give me Tampa. I think they got enough on defense to kind of hold them, and every now and then Baker Mayfield has a good game. He kind of does a few things, so I think they got a chance to win this game.
Okay. Yep. For me, I'm gonna take Tampa. Actually, I got Tampa. Indianapolis, Cincinnati. Ian, who you got?
I want to say Indianapolis, but man, Jake Browning, he balled last week. I think he missed like
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6 passes, through for almost 400 yards, something like that. But I'm gonna go with Indianapolis on this.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Victor.
Yeah, just like what he just said, man. They played well against Jacksonville. It kind of a little bit scares me, but I'm gonna go with Indy. I think they do enough to squeak out a win.
Right. Right. Yeah. For me, fellas, I'm gonna go with Indy as well. I think Indy is on a mission. I like that team, so I got Indy. Um, Jacksonville, Cleveland. Jacksonville, Cleveland. And so, Ian, this could be a good one. I think so because of Jacksonville uh, playing, I would say, a hard-nosed defense team that plays really good defense. Their offense, I don't know. Joe Flacco actually played. He didn't play as worse as I thought he would, y'all. He actually played some football, and I was really shocked to see him come off the couch and play some decent football. They actually scored a few points, Cleveland. They are at home. Um, so, Ian, are you picking Cleveland at home?
Nah, I'm gonna go Jacksonville on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Jacksonville.
Victor, who you got, bro?
Is Trevor Lawrence playing?
I didn't hear anything about him. This is a really good question. I don't imagine he's playing, and this makes a really really good point because he was injured last week, and is he out for the season?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
because
even
he
know
was
who
hurt
was
pretty
their
bad.
backup. Who was their backup?
Um, he's listed as questionable for this week, and so it'll depend. But yeah, I don't even know who the backup quarterback is for Jacksonville. But let me Google it.
The thing is,
Uh,
the Browns are so tough on defense, and with no Trevor Lawrence, that's an absolute lock. I feel like for Cleveland, but I don't know. I got to look into it and see um, who is their backup. Even I don't know.
well, it looked like it's C.J. Beathard.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
Cleveland. Give me Cleveland if that's the case.
Right. Yep. And so yeah, C.J. Beathard. I got Cleveland too. And Cleveland's at home. It starts getting cold around Cleveland around this time of year. But I'm really intrigued in this game. I think this will be a good football game because we have no-name quarterbacks that'll be playing, backup quarterbacks that were not playing both of these quarterbacks 2 weeks ago. You know, Joe Flacco, this is his second game, and we got a backup possibly coming in for Jacksonville. So yeah. Houston and the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, y'all, he stated that it was stated in the media that he will not return for this season. So kind of bad news for the Jets, but it's a smart decision, I believe, right, fellas, based off of their offensive line issues and the fact that it takes, it just gives him more time to get more healthier. And so why throw yourself in the dumpster fire when you don't have to? And so Ian, Houston Jets, who you got, bro?
Of course, I got Houston. CJ for MVP. I got Houston.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Vic, who you got, bro?
Um, I might take the Jets. I think the Jets are tough enough on defense. And with Houston with no Tank Dell, that's a huge injury
Yeah.
for them. They got a lot of long plays from him, a lot of long touchdowns or whatever. With him, you got to throw in Robert Woods, who's a veteran, but he's not Tank Dell, so to speak, at least what he has been this season. So now you get to kind of maybe play Nico Collins a little bit tougher. You got Sauce over there on him. So I think if the Jets can hang around, they might be able to pull this one out.
Okay, I mean they are at MetLife, so that's a difference too. But I'm gonna go with Houston. I think yeah, but look at this number of
Nico Collins. Nico Collins.
crowd. So, yeah, shit. It will come out and surprise the world. Rams at the Ravens. Rams at the Ravens.
Ravens.
Okay. Okay. And Victor.
Ravens.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Ravens as well, but I don't think it'll be an easy victory. I think it'll be tough. Shout out to this rookie receiver for the Rams, and the Rams, Choo Atwell kind of balling out. Still got, I think is one of the best receivers in football in Cooper Kupp. And the Rams have been on a little streak as of late. They kind of getting hot. So I think they go in Baltimore, surprise Baltimore. I got the Rams. Minnesota at Vegas. Minnesota at Vegas. So Minnesota was just on top of the world 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and they've been on a losing streak now. They going to Vegas tomorrow against Purdue's former starting quarterback, and Tonio Pierce got this team motivated. They are in Vegas tomorrow. Do the Vikings bounce back tomorrow? And who you got?
No, I got the Raiders. I got the Raiders on this one.
Okay. And Victor, who you got?
I got Minnesota. You got Justin Jefferson coming back. It's gonna be a difference maker for him. Nah, I can't see it, man. I'm gonna go with Minnesota for that one.
All right. Yes. I got Minnesota. I'm rolling with Minnesota. I'm with you, bro. The Detroit Lions, y'all, at our Chicago Bears tomorrow. Soldier Field. Who you got for this one, man?
Fortunately, I have the Lions.
Yeah, Victor, who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Lions.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For me, fellas, I'm gonna go with the Lions as well. I think the Bears hold the lead. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Bears hold the lead in the game, bro. But I think at the end of the day, the Bears probably find a way to lose the game late, as they tend to do. So,
yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Detroit. Seattle at San Francisco. Seattle been playing good football, but falling short, unfortunately. Like 2 weeks ago, you lose off a missed field goal. The week before, you lose off a missed field goal. You got Geno Smith get in the game, and they just been having bad luck as of late. And then you play good against Dallas last week, and come up short again. Now you at San Francisco. Is this a Cancun on 3, fellas, or you guys think Seattle can go in to upset San Francisco?
Nah, I'm going San Francisco for sure.
What about you, Victor? Cancun?
Yeah.
That means we all agree. All right, so yeah, Kansas on 3. Yeah. All right, y'all. Buffalo at Kansas City. Buffalo at Kansas City. Buffalo, tough loss. They have been up and down this team. 6-6, just inconsistent. At times have great flashes. At times Josh Allen looks great, and at times he's like, what the hell is he doing? Kansas City, on the other hand, they've been kind of downstreaming lately, fellas. I think 2 losses in a row. Not looking as hot as of late. And so, Ian, who you got for this one?
Kansas City in a bounce back win.
Okay.
A lot going on in Buffalo. Coach under fire for some comments. I got Kansas City in this one.
All right, Victor.
Is that Buffalo?
It's at Kansas City.
At Kansas City?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Kansas City on this one. Although something is telling me that Josh Allen is gonna get that win that he so desperately needs against Kansas City.
And that he needs for to even stay in the playoff race.
Right. Because then they would be 7-6, right?
No, if they lose, they'd be 6-7.
Right, but I'm saying if they win, it would be 7-6, right?
Oh yes.
But put Kansas City at 8 and
I think 8-4,
8-5, right?
or 8-5, one of the two. Yeah, I think they might be 8-5. Or I think you're right. Yeah.
So man, they got to go in the Arrowhead and do that though. It takes a lot. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go Bills. I'm gonna take a bold prediction and go with the Bills.
Yeah. And Kansas City, by the way, broke 8-4. So they're 8-4, and Buffalo is 6-6. Yep. And so this is a big game for Buffalo right here, but I'm going with Kansas City. And they lose, it's going to be a lot of media talking about Buffalo this week. Just put that out there right now. Kansas City lose. There's going to be a lot of people talking about Kansas City. What is happening in Kansas City? Do people not fear them anymore? So, Denver at LA. Big game for the Broncos if they want to stay in a playoff race in. Whereas with LA, they ain't going to the playoffs, but shout out to Khalil Mack. He's leading the league in sacks, actually, fellas. Believe it or not, Khalil Mack is back, leading the league with sacks at 15.
Come back to Chicago.
And so, this is a big game, though, for NFC West implications for second place in LA 5-7, Denver 6-6. Who you got? They are in LA tomorrow, by the way.
I'm going with the Chargers for the upset. I'm going with Chargers.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if it's much of an upset against Denver, but it could be an upset based off of how they've been looking. Especially as a team.
Pretty good. Yeah. Better.
Right, Denver's been playing pretty good as of late, and it took a lot for them to lose last week. I mean, they should have won the game. Yeah. Victor, who you got?
I'm taking Chargers.
Okay. Yeah. Guys, I'm going to go with Denver. I think Denver they're like a well-oiled machine, look like almost. And Russell Wilson, shout out to him, man. He playing good football. He playing smart football. Playing real methodical football. And so I kind of like the trajectory of where the Broncos are heading. This is a really big game for them tomorrow. Big game. But speaking of big games, fellas, Philadelphia at Dallas, Sunday Night Football. I'm going to be watching this one. Ian, who you got? Philly, Dallas?
I'm going Philly.
Okay. All right. So you like Philly to go into Arlington and take down take down the Cowboys. Victor, who you? Number. Okay. Yep. And Victor, who you got?
This one's tough, man. I'm gonna go with Philly.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Philly this week actually just picked up Shaq Leonard. So maybe possibly he'll play. But that's a good acquisition for this team. I thought he was a great linebacker.
Yeah.
Indianapolis coach just dropped him like a bag, and it was crazy. It was crazy. And we was talking just a few minutes ago how Jim Irsay be doing some stuff. They be doing some stuff in Indianapolis. And so he's now with Philly. But I'm gonna go with Dallas. I think the difference is Dallas being at home, and the way Dak Prescott's playing, he's playing better than Jalen Hurts. I think Dallas y'all exposed their secondary. I think Dak Prescott he chop up their secondary. I got Dallas. Um, Tennessee at Miami. Tennessee at Miami. Who you got for this one? Ian. Is this a
Uh,
campaign on three fellas?
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay. Victor, you're not picking Tennessee, are you?
Who Tennessee play? I forgot. Just a quick. I'm sorry.
Oh, they
Who do
play in
Tennessee
Miami.
have?
They at Miami.
There's no way I'm picking Tennessee. He's going to beat
All
them
right.
back.
Okay. Yeah, Miami's really good. We were saying this a few weeks ago. They really good at beating up the tomato cans. And so, they could, you know, very well end up taking care of Tennessee. We'll see. Green Bay at New York. Green Bay at MetLife Stadium Monday night. And so at the Giants, that is, fellas. And so Ian, who you got for this one? Green Bay at New York.
Man, I got Green Bay, man. Jordan Love's been looking good as of lately.
Yeah, he started like the quarterback I thought he would be. And Victor, who you got?
Man, that's an easy choice. It's Green Bay, man. New York line, man, they can't cover anybody. They can't block anybody. That's game over.
Mm. And the thing, this can't be the best New York team when you got tickets in New York City as low as $34. Just let that sink in. Can't be the
Wow.
best football team when you got tickets at MetLife in New York City as low as $34. And so yeah. With that being said, world, that concludes our NFL picks. And so, fellas, we now do a part of our segment where we close, and it's called Ian's Basement. And so, Ian, just curious, bro, you got anything for us this morning?
Just a question. So, who is your guys' Heisman pick for tonight? Is it Marvin Harrison
That's a
Jr.,
good question.
Michael Penix Jr., who else? Jaden Daniels,
Marvin Harrison Jr.
and I think it's Bo Nix, I believe.
No, Marvin Harrison Jr. is there too, right?
Yeah, I say him first.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and Bo Nix up from Oregon.
believe.
For me, fellas, I got Michael Penix Jr. of Washington. I think it's his work for this year. Undefeated, Pac-12, played a number of great teams that were ranked at least. A lot of touchdowns. That offense looked fantastic all year with him. I got Michael Penix Jr. Yeah. What about you, Vic?
It's between Penix and Marvin Harrison Jr. But like you said, man, and then here's the thing that usually always matters, man. Washington made it. So they're going to take that into consideration, which I think gives him the nod.
They went undefeated too.
Right. They went undefeated. They made it to the big, or maybe make it to the big game. They had an opportunity to play in it. So I think you're right. I think maybe Penix Jr., man, he probably will get it.
Yeah,
Over
yeah. Yeah, Bo Nix been balling out too in Oregon. Who you got, Ian? Who you got, bro?
This is actually kind of wide open. I really don't know who's gonna win. I don't think Bo Nix is gonna win. I think he's like the very long shot. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. probably is a long shot too. I just don't think he really has the numbers to win it like like Devontae Smith did a couple years ago.
Right, like just completely
Uh,
dominant. Yeah.
yeah. He could have it with better quarterback play. Um, my pick, honestly, I think Jaden Daniels is gonna win it, but I think the safe pick is Michael Penix, but I think Jaden Daniels will probably win it
I
just
can
because
see
his
your
numbers
point from LSU.
are just insane. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
think the safe pick is Michael Penix, though. Undefeated, made it to the playoff, played a lot of meaningful games, and they won it
Right,
and beat Bo Nix twice. So I think
right,
he
right,
would
right,
probably be the safe pick.
right. Yep, that's smart. Yeah, yep. And so, yeah. Well, Vic, now the last part of it's just final thoughts and shout outs. And so, we gonna let I guess we gonna let you, bro. Hit us with any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend. And so, any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend.
No, I don't have any, man. I'm glad you guys had me on and get a chance to, talk sports with you guys.
A blast,
It's
bro.
always
We had a blast with you, dog.
always a pleasure all the time. I try and give my opinion so you guys have something to debate about. Sometimes maybe it's a little over the top, but hey, what's sports without having that, right? So,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. And so, yeah, and bro, what words you got to bless us with, bro? Any final thoughts, shout outs as we head into the weekend?
Oh man, shout out to Vic for coming on with us. Had a blast with you this morning, man. Come back anytime. Yeah, just have a good weekend. Got the in tournament game tonight. Make sure you guys check that out. The Heisman presentation is tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, just enjoy the weekend. Be safe out here the holidays. Get some Christmas shopping in. Spend time with your family. And just enjoy, man. Be safe out here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes, yes. And so, Vic, we appreciate you, bro, for coming on with us. It's been a blast, bro, man. We had a fantastic time with you. And just reiterating the words that Ian stated. And so, world, just remember with God that all things are possible. And with that being said, on behalf of the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, we would like to say thank you all for tuning in with us this morning. Continue to chop it up with us and support our podcast on various platforms. And if you are, would love to talk sports with us on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, we are here and would love to do so with you. Your love and support is truly appreciated, and we hope you all have a blessed and safe weekend. Peace.